Do you want to know my biggest arm training regret? Find out in today's episode. So for those of you who may or may not already know, my upper arms always lagged behind the rest of my physique. So when it came down to building up my back, shoulders, lower body, and muscle groups of that nature, the biceps and triceps always really lagged behind, relatively speaking. Now the forearms are pretty decent, especially if you've been watching my last few videos, but it's really the upper arms I've been trying to bring up for the last few years. And I've done a lot of protocols with close grip benching, weighted dips, weighted chins, along with a lot of bodybuilding stuff at the end, for good pump work. And I've tried a lot of different methods to really bring up my upper arms, and it just hasn't worked. Now that's what I want to talk about in today's episode, because I want to save you guys a lot of time. It's only until recently that my biceps really started to come up, and I really do credit it to the strict curl. So I think it's pretty safe to say in 2019 that if you want to grow some bigger arms, then it's probably in your best interest to really start isolating them, because we have too many examples of people in the fitness world and even people outside of the fitness world who've gotten really strong on certain compound lifts that guarantee growth, and they're not really content with the arm size that they have, and they even admit it themselves. You got guys like Ben Bruno, one of the top coaches, Alex from Alpha Destiny, guys like Omar Isuf, and countless other people who admitted that their arms were not as big until they really started isolating them. Now the problem with isolating them for certain people is that they just find it boring and they just don't even do it at all, or they'll just half-ass it at the end of a workout. But they'll take other lifts very seriously, like their overhead press when they're trying to bring up the shoulders. But when it comes to the arms, it's just pretty much like an afterthought. So that's why I want to talk about the strict curl and its benefits, because it has a competition element to it. It's a strict lift. There's competitions out there for it. There's a good weightlifting potential. It's a very humbling exercise. And also it's pretty fun and just badass overall to just go against a wall and just strict curl something to your clavicle or your chin. It's also great for generating results. My biceps have been getting a lot bigger. Even my forearms from strict curling and doing certain variations. And I think that that's the missing key to arm training that people don't really talk about. I'd invite you guys to watch my Q&A with Devin Knox. I'm gonna post it right here. And he talks about the strict curl. And you talk about people who do strict curl federations, even a lot of the drug-free guys, they tend to have really big biceps. And that's because they're training their biceps for performance. They're not just doing fluff and pump. They still do some fluff and pump, but they're training with certain goals in mind. If you want to get bigger shoulders, you should be chasing, that 225 overhead press, or even more if you're capable. The same thing should be applied to biceps. No one talks about this, but it's true. If you want to get bigger biceps, you should be shooting for a 150-pound strict curl, 160 pounds, maybe even 170 pounds. But you should be trying to get that number as high as possible, because that's going to guarantee more growth than just doing fluff and pump here and there. So that's pretty much the main point of the video, is that my number one regret for arm training is not taking the strict curl seriously since day one, because if I were to focus on it since day one, I'd be at least 180 pounds. And my biceps would just be a lot bigger. Now we could also argue that the biceps are not even the meaty part of the arms in general, and it's really the triceps, and this is true. And I will make a bit more tricep videos in the future, but right now what I could think of is that the strict curl is my biggest regret. So if you've never worked out a day in your life, or if you've been following my channel for a while, whatever the case is, I'd invite you to try the strict curl out. Keep me posted with your progress. And with that being said, I'm going to show you guys in the next clip some variations you could do with the strict curl to really spice up your arm training. So let's get into it. All right, so for those of you who don't already know what the strict curl is, very simple. Got the glutes, upper back, and the back of the head against the wall, and the feet are no more than 12 inches away from the wall too. Knees are slightly bent, and you're bringing the bar to clavicle or to chin levels. This is the basic variation that you want to base your progress off of for the most part. You can do these with the shoulder width grip or the narrower grip in a supinated fashion, just like that. Now, you could also do these for lower reps too. You could test it out every now and then to see where you're at. This is a 1 rep max. I think it was 127.5. Still had a lot more in the tank. You could also do reverse grip. I really like this for forearms. It's probably my favorite forearm exercise at the moment, because it's the forearm exercise that's the strictest, that has the biggest range of motion. Like wrist curls are great, and they train a different part of the forearms, but if you really want bang for your buck, do some reverse strict curls. Speaking of forearms, another great lift you could do to also train the biceps and forearms is the hammer strict curl. So these are really great for the brachialis, and they just train the arms in a really strict fashion. Now the next lift that you're going to see is actually one that I got from Devin Knox. He has a free program out for people who want to increase the strict curl, which I'm not running right now. but you could probably benefit from it. And this is actually for a bit more advanced people to use the bands. I don't really think it's necessary for people just starting off. And what's cool about the bands is that it adds more resistance at the top, so it gets harder and harder as you get to the chin. Alright, so there you guys have it. Hope you learned something from today's episode. I know this has really helped me a lot with my training, but I really hope it helps you a lot with yours. So let me know in the comment section below, do you already do the strict curl in your training? If so, what are your numbers like? What are you striving to hit this year? And share this with a friend, subscribe to the channel. See you guys next time.